there's a lot of these little things that you got to really kind of be careful of when buying top floor places. Even though the view might be amazing, well, that's kind of how they get you, because they're like, yeah, good. They're not going to really look at, the condensation that's seeping through the roof because of the water, the issue in the concrete. You go in for a viewing, they've got the aircon cranking all day. They get you in at 9 a.m. They don't get you in at 2 p.m. Why would they? It's burning outside. You're going to step in there and you go, I'll step foot in the kiln. We in pottery class? Because I'm cooking. So you got to be careful. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name's Arthur. I'm a Greek buyer's advocate. I manage properties in Greece. I'm a project manager for people that want to renovate in Greece. And I thought I'd start this channel and start talking about owning and selling and buying properties in Greece and the whole process about it. It's been a couple of months now. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for sticking around and ideally sticking around. I don't know. It's the beginning of the video. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you've already switched off. Who knows? I hope you haven't. I thought I'd jump on the channel today and talk about the different variations of properties that you can actually purchase, and more importantly, how the levels actually play a big factor on the properties. And I'm not talking about the level of money and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's going to play a massive factor, but I mean like the different levels there are to a building and what people seek out, what to look out for, what not to look out for, where I've sort of figured there's money, where I think there's money, and where really you should kind of let it go. Now, don't forget, you can also listen to me on Spotify. It's been a couple of weeks. I've started putting all the videos up on there. Buying Greece. I'm across all the social media platforms at Buying Greece. The YouTube channel, obviously, which you're watching right now. Unless you're listening on Spotify, then there's a video, then there's a YouTube channel. And don't forget, for more information, buyinggreece.com.au is my website where you can get in touch with me, send me some questions, and hopefully I can help you make your dream of owning Greek property a reality. So let's begin. All right, so first and foremost, you're looking for Greek property and you're going through Spitogato, to spiti mu, whatever else there is, maybe Facebook. People are buying off Facebook, believe it or not. You go on Marketplace and you look up any part of any part of Greece. Just pull out your phone. Not right now, you're watching me, but when you're done, pull out your phone and just put in Athens, Thessaloniki, Crete, whatever you want to put in on Marketplace, and put in like apartment for sale or apartment for rent and see the listings come up. It blows my mind because agents much sooner put listings on Facebook than they would on freaking Spitogato. Chances are they got better photos to go along with it as well. Anyway, don't get me started. Do not get me started. It's too early. Ugh, I need a drink. So, assuming obviously we're not talking about houses and corpora, obviously there's nothing to do with that kind of stuff unless that's all pretty straightforward. The different listings are going to have different elements to those listings, whether or not they're plistidias more, which is auction, and I've already got a video on that topic as well. If you jump on the YouTube channel, scroll through the videos, I can't remember which one it is, but there's one on there that talks specifically about that. But I'm talking when you're looking at a building, an economy, because let's face it, more often than not, that's what you're going to be looking at purchasing when you're in Greece. Especially when you're looking at purchasing more central. Greece has built upwards as opposed to outwards. There is still land to build out in Greece, but owning land in Greece, anyone is, and I laugh at this because if you own 15 minutes out of the city, it's too far. Oh no. But how do we get there? Oh, but what if the road doesn't, and what if the bus doesn't, and what if the donkey does too far? 15 minutes? I beg your pardon? Oh, 15 minutes to get a coffee? What do you mean too far, 15 minutes? Anyway, I'm losing my mind already. It's 5 minutes into the video. Whatever it is, I'm losing my mind. I can't do this. So we're talking about the buildings, right? When you're looking on Spitogato or any freaking site, whatever, choose your poison, I use Spitogato. And I say poison because have fun looking through those photos. When it's asking for levels, floors, there's a whole lot of variations. Obviously, 1 through to whatever is pretty stock standard. But then you got your other variations, your UG, your LG, your G, and then you got your upper G. And I was like, I wonder if people know what that means as well, because I definitely didn't. This triggered me because the other day I was at the hospital, at the private hospital at Airworth in Richmond, for anyone who's been there. I swear to God, I got lost in a lift, stuck, because I was on floor 2, wanted to go to ground, push ground, another floor. Wait a minute. Pushed 1, another floor. Pushed lower ground. Can't be that, because lower ground means the lower of the ground, right? Underground. Oh no. No. Lower ground is street level. Blew my mind, went back into hospital, laid in bed, put myself in a coma for a week. Came back out, thought I'd talk about this. Because if it's happening in Australia, it's obviously happening in Greece. And then I thought, yeah, it's definitely happening in Greece because same situation, gave the world Democracy, 90% of the language that they speak, can't figure out an upper ground and lower ground situation on Spitogatos. Need another drink. So when you're looking for properties in Greece, I'm going to start with underground, basement, ipoia. And I'm going to put a thing up here. By the way, how's the new logo? Made it myself. Thank you. I thought I'd change stuff up again. Everyone was like, what's with the 007? Nothing. I'm a bachelor. I love James Bond. That's it. It's got nothing to do with I snipe all the prices and I'm blah, blah. No, I'm not. Due to peer pressure, folded that down, threw up a logo. Let me know in the comments if it works or not. All right, underground. It's an ipoio. It's a basement. That's all it is. That's exactly what it is. Now, you can buy, obviously, these things. They're very cheap. And the deal is with ipoia, we've got to go back to how it all started. Obviously, it started with houses, and we're talking not even that long ago, probably 60 years ago, 70 years ago. I mean, my dad's house, the one that my parents own in Greece at the moment, is where my dad grew up, and he grew up in a single-story dwelling in Abelokipos, in the heart of Thessaloniki, essentially. Just outside, maybe 5-minute drive outside of the city. And he remembers a time where developers would come through and say, right, we want to build on your land. We're going to build a building with 5 stories, 20 apartments, whatever, and we'll take your land and we'll give you 5 apartments. And that's how essentially Greece started to get built up. Now, what they did was, because they realized that they were building upwards, that obviously shops, they needed to create shops in them. And a lot of the buildings, you'd have obviously a lot of frontage, shop frontage. And that was set up purely just to take advantage of the fact that they've got land there, and why not create a commercial aspect to that thing? Because realistically, they didn't think that people were going to buy on the ground floor and turn it into apartments or whatever it was. So they decided, right, let's create shops. Now, obviously they had land to build underground. Didn't think about putting in garages because there was one car in all of Thessaloniki in 1950. So what they decided to do is start building basements to correlate with these shops. A lot of the time, you'll see shops, especially right in the city, you'll see shops that have got a little flap underneath, and downstairs is a basement. Those basements was just purely for storage for the shops that were being used. So you'll have these days a lot of basements as well in buildings that just were closed up. They didn't really become shops. They didn't become anything. And these basements are just still there, used by the building. My parents' building has one. It's got a basement. We all used to put our stuff there. I think someone's now claimed ownership or bought it or whatever, so we've had to take our stuff out. A lot of the times, businesses will still use it. People will still own it. They'll buy a basement, lease it out, and just lease it out for €50 a month or €100 a month and use it as their own storage. Some have been turned into parking lots because people have realized that they need car spaces. So they've bought a whole big basement because you don't really need anything under there. Lay down some cement, create a pathway, create a driveway, put a roller door on it. Before you know it, you can start charging people €50 a month for a car space. So there's a lot of different things that people have done with their basements. Now, basements are going very cheaply. In fact, I was looking at buying some not long ago, but the issue that you have with basements is that generally there's no water in them, because why would they need to lay down pipes? It was a basement. It was only going to be used for storage. It never in their mind thought that people would actually want to live in these. So water's an issue. Plumbing, again, is an issue. And what I mean with plumbing, obviously water is that, but I mean by plumbing, I mean putting a toilet in there. If you can't get water in there, how are you going to flush a toilet as well? And not just flush the toilet. You can always dump buckets of water in. Where's the water going to go? Can't go upwards. So that's another issue that they have with basements. On top of it, you got other people's pipes, which you can hide. It's not the biggest of issue, but something goes wrong, it then becomes your issue very quickly. So that's ipoia. If you look them up though, you will find a lot of them that are actually quite cheap, and quite specifically in the cities as well. It's very interesting. As far as real estate goes, basements could be a thing of the future. Who knows what's to come out, where they can bring in water and take it out at the same time, and whatever mechanisms become available. I'm sure there's some kind of pumps that are available as well if you want to deal with that stuff, but then again, who knows, whatever your game is. So that's basements. The next thing is the imipoia, semi-basements. So you'll see a lot of these that people are actually living in, and you'll see a lot of them that have been converted, because semi-basements, again, were actually shops. Now, anything that you step down into, even one step, is deemed a semi-basement, and that price tag goes down 20,000 on average. It drops drastically because people think you step down a step, it's going to be too much, it's considered a semi-basement. The whole adage is that people don't like semi-basements because you're under the footpath essentially and people can look in. To a degree, yes. To a degree, no. I mean, you can obviously figure that out. You can put in frosted glass, or you can put in tinted windows, or whatever it is. You can put in metal bars, which a lot of people have got. These are very habitable places as well. In fact, there's one that I was looking at buying, but I just found something better. But I'm not against it. And at the end of the day, there are people that want to live in semi-basements as well. Not everyone can afford what people want. And to be honest, some people just like that view, or maybe like living in those areas. I mean, you go to New York, I'm sure there are people doing the same in New York City, and for some reason there it's praised, and in Greece it's considered the scum of the earth. Again, the issue with semi-basements is the fact that because it's on street level and you go down a couple of steps, it may be water. Sometimes if it rains too much, if it floods, the water can start to seep in. Sure, I can see that argument, but again, if it's done properly, which I have seen it being done properly, you just you raise the step a little bit, you put a bit of a lip on a step so the water just doesn't even get there. I mean, if it's going to flood, it's going to flood, whether it's a shop, a semi-basement, or a basement, you're done. I mean, what's the difference between a ground floor apartment and a semi-basement? Sure, there's more water that can cascade into your place, but realistically, once that water's in, it's in. It's done your job. Now, you'll see these on Spitogatos algae, which are lower ground, or itami, imi pollo, and it's because it's a semi-basement. Because these semi-basements were essentially set up as shops, they actually do have plumbing and electricity and all that kind of stuff. So if you wanted to look at something like that, I would say go for a semi-basement as opposed to a full basement, because at least with the semi-basement, they're going to have plumbing and electricity, absolutely, because these things were set up as commercial shops. The only difference is that you may need to convert it from a commercial license to a residential. And that's a whole different situation on its own. Not expensive, but it is a situation on its own that you need to get permits and apply and blah, 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 and this and that. And next one, ground floor apartments. Now, they're not ground floor apartments to begin with. Some are still set up as an original home that has been built around, and they've built upwards from there. But most of them have been commercial shops that have been bought and converted to studio apartments. Hi. You're welcome. I'm about to do this again. I bought a shop last year around the corner from my parents' house. I'm converting it into a studio loft apartment, and I can't wait to show you guys that. I'm going to go start that process about August. I'll be there mid-July. And during COVID, I bought my first shop, turned that into a studio apartment. A lot of these shops have been bought and turned into studio apartments because, firstly, commercial properties have died down, especially after COVID, when everyone realized they could work from home. Shops were no longer really becoming a thing. People were saying, well, why should I pay 300, 400, 500 euro to have a shop that people can't actually go to? And a lot of the times people are just buying online anyway. Now, that's not to say that shops are not needed. People always still want to go to a shop. I would much rather go out and buy something and have it in my hands in that moment than wait 5 days for it, or 2 days, whatever it is. I don't want to wait. If I want it, I want it now. Simple as that. So shops still a thing, not as big though. So they were just sitting empty, which also means the prices went down, which also means that they're really easy to snatch up, convert very cheaply, and then mullah a lot of. But they come in at the G level, ground obviously, or IS, which is isoyo, which is Greek for ground. Now the next one is your upper ground, which is imiorofo. Imiorofo means that you walk up maybe, again, half, and orofo, which is level. So it's upper, half of an upper floor essentially. So it's not ground, but it's not first, but it's sort of there. You can reach up and grab it with your hands. You can jump up off the balcony, you can do whatever, but it's still raised by maybe a meter or so, meter and a half. And, the balcony starts there, and that's where people sort of walk on. Now, the difference is that these are more sought after, because if the building doesn't have a lift, then someone doesn't need to carry their shopping 3 flights up. They're very easily accessible. Your balcony's just there. You can talk to the neighbor. You can hand someone something, whatever you need to do. Because realistically, my mum's on the second. If I need a hand or something down there, I'll throw it. She can't catch. She throws it to me, I catch. But she's got this little wog contraption, throws a rope with a bag over. Ella goes fishing, pulls up the shopping, because there's no elevator in my mum's building. I want to get her out of there. It's the one my dad grew up in. Oh, historias. Anyway, so your upper ground floor. It's anything that you walk up maybe 5 steps or whatever, even whatever it is, 6 steps, 7 steps, every building's different. But essentially, it's not your first floor. It's the level in between the ground and the first floor. A lot of these places go to older citizens. Some, because not every building has a lift in it. Doesn't mean necessarily that the older people can't live in those buildings. They're just not going to walk up 13 flights of stairs. They'll walk up 6 steps. 6 steps they can do. There's railing or whatever, they enjoy it because it's raised just above the floor where they feel safe enough that no one can just walk in off the street, and they can sit on the balcony and have a chat with someone. This is the Greek things that people don't realize, that when it's all about close community in Greece, and dare I say Europe. I've been in Italy, I've been to a few other places in Greece, in Europe, where it's all about the closeness of the community, especially in the Mediterranean. I had my mum in Australia recently. I live in an apartment building myself, and one thing she hated was the fact that there was no communicating with your neighbours. And I'm not talking in the hallways, I'm talking outside. You walk outside, you don't see anyone. In Greece, you do. You know, you could throw something to someone else. You talk to Marika, you talk to Anesi, you talk to this, you talk to that. You sit on the balcony, you see the wall go past. There's this closeness. The Greeks love that, especially the old Greeks. So if you're going to buy something that's an imiotophor, chances are it's going to go to an older citizen, perhaps living on his own, maybe a couple, maybe even a young couple as well. I had a mate who lived in Athens for a couple of years, went from Australia, went over there, studied music. And he was renting an imiotophor, and it was beautiful. It was amazing because you'd lean out of the balcony, have a cigarette, you'd drink your coffee, you'd say hi to Maria, and see you later, this and that. And you're not yelling down 4 levels or whatever. Semiotophor. Obviously, I don't need to go into your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever levels because they're very self-explanatory. I'm not even going to bother. If you don't know what that is, property ain't your game. Get out. And finally, we've got retire. Now, the retire is your penthouse. It's just the top floor. It doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily get the full, width of the building. It's not the Grand Hyatt penthouse or whatever like that. It just means penthouse. It means the top floor. Where people are kind of iffy about the top floor in Greece. Just because it's a top floor doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best thing to buy. With the top floor comes a lot more issues. It's been directly hit by the rain, firstly. So you better make sure that roof is sealed often. I reseal mine every 5 years. I don't need to, but I'm doing it because I'm not dealing with the water issues. And it costs, it's paint. You just roll it on. €200, 300, whatever it is. I don't know. It's fine. It's definitely not the price of building a brand new roof because I had to go through that. Again, I'm talking from experience. My first ever property started leaking. Wasn't sealed properly. Why would it be? It was built in the 60s. So this is a thing that you're going to start to come across. Again, not only just sealing, but also heating and cooling. The sun's beaming down on that. That thing becomes a furnace. And Greece gets hot. For those that haven't been, it's not unusual for Greece to hit 42, 43 for weeks at a time. Don't look at Melbourne or Sydney or stuff like that. I mean, I live in Melbourne. We get 45 for 30 seconds and then it drops to 3 degrees and snow. Greece sits on 45 for weeks on end. Athens in particular, Thessaloniki, wherever, they cop it. So those roofs are being hit directly by sun for weeks and weeks and weeks. And, those buildings are going to flame up. It's going to become very hot in there. So heating is an issue. Also, cooling is an issue. In winter, does the heat leave the apartment? Through the roof. So sealing these roofs, not just for waterproofing them, but also sealing them in for cooling and heating. That's another thing that people really start to look at. And you can't really tell that when you're buying a penthouse in Greece. It's not really, a retire, as we say. Now, unfortunately, what I've realized is you don't really know if it's penthouse. It'll say 5th floor. And you're like, well, how many floors is there? Is there 18? Or is it 5? So you really need to do your due diligence when you're looking at these places, especially in these buildings, because firstly, how old's the building? What floor? How many floors is there? What floor is that sitting on? It's on the 5th. All right, so that means it's on the roof. Now, generally with the top floor, you get a little bit more of balcony because they can build it in and give you more balcony because there's nothing else above you. The only thing that might be above you is sort of like a little shed or a little whatever they decide to do up there. Ours has got a shed. We used to put stuff up there. Sometimes I just sit up there in the middle of summer and just on a summer's night, have a drink, watch the world go by, whatever. So it really depends. If there's something like that up there, then, chances are there's got some good kind of sealant. If there's nothing up there, like the one that I own, the first one that I bought, then there could be issues, Water starts to pull in. You got to look at all these things. Wintertime, see what's happening. If it snows, where's the snow sitting? Where's the water going? Is it dripping somewhere? Is there any gaps? Is there openings? Is there a heating pipe where water's coming down from. There's just a lot of these little things that you got to really kind of be careful of when buying top floor places. Even though the view might be amazing, well, that's kind of how they get you, because they're like, yeah, good, they're not going to really look at, you know, the condensation that's seeping through the roof because of the water, the issue in the concrete. You know, you're going for a viewing, they've got the aircon cranking all day. They get you in at 9 a.m. They don't get you in at 2 p.m. Why would they? It's burning outside. You're going to step in there and you go, I'll step foot in the kiln. We in pottery class? Because I'm cooking. So you got to be careful. But that's basically the different levels to a building and how to sort of examine them and what to look out for and what they mean when you're looking at them, because I had no idea what these wordings were. Luckily enough that I had my mum there when I first began. Now I know exactly what they are. I also know what to expect from them, and I know what to look out for when looking at them. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Again, buying Grace on any of the socials, buying Grace on YouTube, buying Grace on Spotify, and also buyinggrace.com.au is my website. If you want to utilize my services, I am a buyer's agent, property manager, and a project manager for people that want to do renovations in Grace. Again, I'm there July onwards for a couple of months, taking care of my own properties. And I can't wait to film it all and show you guys from start to finish what I do, how it looks now, how it's going to turn out, and obviously get some people in there as well. So until next week, thank you for watching. Have a good one.